Yes, 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 y'all. Mary J. Blige, what you gonna do without my love? What will you do without the love of the Black American? Apparently, a lot of people are on social media going stir crazy about us on the sidelines, not wanting to protest, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But first, we're going to talk about Trump news. We're going to talk about the shakeup in the fire department of LA, where Mayor Bass has fired the lady chief, and I think she's trying to cover up for what she did, going to Ghana and whatnot when all the fires were going on. But before I get going, let me introduce myself. I'm For Black Righteous Folks Home. For those that can't remember all that, just call me For Black, or you can call me Liberty if you like, Angela. That's fine. But please call me and hit the like button. Please support me by sharing the video, liking the video, subscribing to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated. We have a lot of things to get through this morning. I hope that you guys would support, and also feel free to be in the comment sections, as most people like to make comments. As long as it's respectful, I'll come through from time to time and read your comments and converse with you. If the comment warrants me to speak back to you, I will. But let me start first with Trump, because I like to start off with him. He is definitely rattling a lot of different people. There was a dramatic, angered crowd of people that wanted to confront a Republican congressman, about what's going on with Trump. And I want to play that first clip to let you guys see what is going on in the spaces of other voters that are crying out about Trump They got a lot to say, and this congressman had some words to say back. So let's review this before everything else. Oh, before I get started, please, fair use for these videos under the Copyright Act of 1976. It will cover commentary, research, observation, education, information, not meaning to infringe or impose, but to inform in real time what's going on right now. Let's begin with the first video. And hello to everybody in the clouds and also in the chat room. What's up, Sheena? What's up, African Goddess? Thank you for coming through. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
So you can imagine my shock and pure horror when I woke up to find that our president had given himself unprecedented executive powers and then within a few days named himself king to his followers.
Look, I'm the one saying, let's work together, and you're the one screaming at me, okay? Let's be fair. I'm telling you how you solve this, and you're saying, no, we don't want to hear that.
Tyranny is rising in the White House, and a man has declared himself our king. So I would like to know, rather, the people would like to know what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
I'm not going to give you my best foghorn leghorn response to that. But what I was, you can go ahead and sit down. Thank you. When you talk about tyranny, when you talk about presidential power, I remember having the same discussion with Republicans when Biden was elected. The funny thing is, you're sitting here and if a lot of you would probably say those January 6s who are yelling just as loud as you, who are upset just like you. I've seen Game of Thrones too. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on because if you're not going to listen to the answer, we might as well not discuss it, right? Do you want to hear the answer? If you'd stop yelling, I will answer. Otherwise, we'll move on. If you would stop talking for a second, I will answer your question. Okay? So if you listen to what we've projected, and this goes both parties, by the way. This is a bipartisan problem. The REINS Act, which reins in executive power for both parties, whoever's in party power, and I think it could be tweaked actually to be much better. I don't think executive privilege should be as strong as it is. I think we're out of balance right now. I think your direct representation, whether you like me or not, I'm the closest thing you have to a representative. Your senator's not going to be as representative as me, and the president's not going to be as representative as me when it comes to you, the people in this district. Likewise, I think state government needs to be more powerful than federal government. It used to be that federal funds only made up 1/3 of the money spent, and states was 2/3. It's more representative of your money and your money spent. That's better. Always push government down to the local level because you'll get better representation. I don't want to see the president make all the decisions. I don't. I didn't want to see. Do you not want to hear that I just said, I answered it directly. I said, I don't want to see any president be too powerful. I just told you we have an act that can be passed by bipartisan resolution. The problem is we couldn't pass it when Joe Biden was in presidency. Then why didn't he pass it? Biden wouldn't pass it, and the Senate, the democratically controlled Senate would not touch it because they wanted Biden to have executive privilege that was too big too. And this is the problem. This is a bipartisan issue, guys. I'm the one saying let's work together, and you're the one screaming at me. Okay? Let's be fair. I'm telling you how you solve this, and you're saying no, we don't want to hear that.
Okay, so people are really in an uproar about what Trump's been doing, all the firings and all the different executive orders that he signed. I mean, he's been a busy bee. I've never seen nothing like it before. Let me find the video about what Trump's just recently talked on so that we can keep up with him. But he's fired the recent, we say, in Pentagon, he's fired some people in the army or military recently. I'll get to that video in a minute, but first, let me first get to Trump speaking on USPS, Doge, tariffs, and more from the Oval Office, because I want to start off with him first before we get going. Please hit the like button. This is, again, I am still in support of Trump. I am following everything that he does. I hope that things will be smoothed out in the next few months. And I think that we should just allow him to do what he's doing as far as clearing out the swamp, as I guess he's calling himself doing. And, you know, I just have to have a little hope that what he's doing is all going to make sense in the next few months. I'm not going to allow myself to get fear-mongered or anything like that, as the Democrats are trying to do that to all of us. I'm not falling for that, and I hope that you guys are not falling for that as well. But let's listen to what Trump is saying lately, and please hit the like button if you have not yet. I see that there's 88 people in here, and people are having a hard cramp in their finger to not hit the like button.
Reports that you were considering merging the United States Postal Service with the Commerce Department. Can you elaborate on if this is something you're considering?
Well, we want to have a post office that works well and doesn't lose massive amounts of money. And we're thinking about doing that, and it'll be a form of a merger, but it'll remain the Postal Service, and I think it'll operate a lot better than it has been over the years. It's been just a tremendous loser for this country. Tremendous amounts of money are being lost, and we think we can do something that'll be very good and keep it a very similar way, but whether it's a merger or just using some of the very talented people that we have elsewhere so it doesn't lose so much. It's losing a tremendous amount of money.
Some members of Congress in red districts are facing pushback from voters in town halls. We know that Americans voted for you on immigration and the economy, but these voters say they're angry and frustrated by these firings. They don't like the work of Elon Musk and these other actions. What do you say to that?
Who do you work for?
I work for ABC News.
Who?
ABC News.
No wonder. Let me just tell you that I have today the highest poll numbers I've ever had. I have today the highest poll numbers of any Republican president ever. We haven't even checked the Democrats, but that's what I was just told. And they like the job that we're doing. They like the job that Elon's doing. He's doing something that a lot of people wouldn't have the courage to do. We want to streamline our country. We want to streamline, because you know why? Because we want our country to survive and thrive. And we're finding billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. Billions, and I mean numbers like you wouldn't believe, and we haven't even started yet. So it's actually just the opposite. We've polled it, and people are thrilled. They can't even believe it's happening. And it won't affect many people. It'll only affect the people that get caught stealing. The waste, fraud, and abuse is at a level like nobody's ever seen. It's been going on for years. And all you have to do is look at the Social Security rolls, look at some of the things, look at where the money is going. The Attorney General's looking into something, environmental protection, $20 billion. And it's out and out fraud. So I think the people are very happy. Yes.
I want to ask you about this week, the Secretary spent 4 hours with the European Union trade representative. The European Union has signaled that they would lower tariffs and do a trade deal with the United States.
Yeah, the European Union wants to come back. They've treated us very badly, and the European Union wants to lower their tariffs because of the fact we were paying a fortune of tariffs. We couldn't sell a car there. We couldn't sell our farm products there. They wouldn't take anything. Now all of a sudden they're being very nice, and that's going to happen with a lot of others too. The European Union is wanting to lower its barriers at very low levels. They want to now bring their car number, which was extremely high, down to 2.5%, which is the same thing that we charge. That's reciprocal. See, that's what is happening, reciprocal. And I think it's a big start in the right direction with the European Union.
You called President Zelensky of Ukraine a dictator. Do you think that President Putin of Russia is also a dictator?
I think that President Putin and President Zelensky are going to have to get together because you know what? We want to stop killing millions of people. You have young soldiers being killed. If you saw the pictures that I saw of the battlefield from satellite, you've never seen any pictures like that. Soldiers are being killed by the thousands a week, thousands of soldiers a week. As we speak, they're being killed. That's why I want to see a ceasefire and I want to get the deal done. I think we have a chance to get the deal done. I had to make sure that Russia wanted to do it. It's a war that would have never happened if I was president, but it did happen. So I got stuck with it, and I want to stop people from being killed. You know, it doesn't affect the United States very much. It's on the other side of the ocean. It does affect Europe, and we've put in 3 times more money. We're in for 300 billion. They're in for 100 billion. And, you know, Europe is also doing it in the form of a loan. Biden just gave them money. There was no loan. There was no security. There was no anything. So we're going to either sign a deal or there's going to be a lot of problems with them. So we're going to sign a deal to get security because we have to do that. We're spending our treasure. They're spending their blood. They are. And they're very brave in, you know, in every way you can imagine. But we are spending our treasure on a country that's very, very far away. And it's okay. But we have to be treated the same as Europe is being treated. Europe gets their money back. Europe is basically giving nothing because they get it back in the form of a loan, and it's a guaranteed loan. We don't get our money back, and we're losing. I mean, we don't want to do that anymore. So we're signing an agreement, hopefully in the next fairly short period of time, that will assure us that we'll get $400 or $500 billion back. We're in there for $300 billion. Now, one other thing, Europe is at 100. We're at 300. We think it has to equalize. In other words, they have to come up with more money because it has a big effect in Europe. It doesn't have much of an effect on us because we have a big, beautiful ocean in between. But it does affect. And Biden should have never gotten us into this mess. We had an incompetent president who got us into a mess. But we're going to get you out of it. The same thing in the Middle East. We're going to have some good news in the Middle East. What happened yesterday, the sight of those babies was not acceptable to anybody. Nobody's seen anything like it.
Mr. President, are you going to Moscow? There's a report out of France that you're going to Moscow on May 9th.
No.
To join President Putin.
I'm not.
And if I could, sir, just ask you about Kash Patel, who's going to be sworn in as soon as your FBI director. Talk to us about your reaction to him getting sworn in and the fact that many agents across the country are concerned that they will be fired en masse for simply just doing their job.
No, I think the agents are very happy about Kash. In fact, the agents led the charge for Kash. One of the reasons I loved Kash and wanted to put him in is because of the respect the agents had for him. I think he'll go down as the best ever at that position. And it turned out he was very easy to get approved. You know, I was not sure. He's a tough guy, strong guy. He has his opinions, and I wasn't sure. He turned out to be he went very smoothly. I don't know if he's in the room now. He's going to be in the room very shortly. Where is he? Hopefully I'm saying the right thing. I can't speak too badly about him. I better be careful. I will say this about Kash, and Howard understands this. One of the reasons that I wanted him is because the agents love this guy and they respect this guy, and this is what they wanted. And even somebody like Trey Gowdy, who's a very good guy, but known as somewhat of a moderate person, he came out with a statement that was so incredible. He said, Kash is an incredible person. People don't realize it. When he said that, there was no doubt left. It was really a big statement made by somebody that's respected and on the moderate side. And I will tell you, I think Kash is going to go down as maybe the best ever when it's all said and done. So I'm glad he's willing to do it. Thank you, Kash.
A little bit more. You talked about. Can you speak a little bit more about your meeting with Tim Cook? You said that he was going to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in specific projects that he spoke to you about. What were those?
All over the country. He's going to start building, and he doesn't want to pay tariffs. And he's going to start building, but very big numbers. You have to speak to him. I assume they're going to announce it at some point, but very big numbers. He was here yesterday. I met with him at length, and Apple is coming here with tremendous dollars. They're going to be spending a lot of money in the United States, more than they've ever spent by a factor of probably 10.
Did you reporting that you were signing a memo later to counter digital service taxes?
Well, will you speak? I mean, what are you doing? Reading it?
Yes,
Can't you just say it without having to read it?
My question?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Bloomberg, we're reporting that you're expected to sign tariffs or a memo later on tariffs on digital taxes. Is there any idea how high you might go with?
We are going to be doing that digital. What they're doing to us in other countries is terrible with digital. So we'll be announcing that. Are we signing it maybe today? Today. And we'll talk about that in a little while.
Are you going to put the secretary in charge of the Postal Service?
He's going to look at it. He's got a great business instinct, which is what we need. And he'll be looking at it, and we think we can turn it around. But it is the Postal Service. I mean, we're leaving the Postal Service, but we're losing so much money with the Postal Service, and we don't want to lose that kind of money. So the Secretary and some others that have talent, that kind of talent, we'll be looking at.
So, how close are you to a minerals agreement with Ukraine, Mr. President?
What?
How close are you to striking a minerals deal?
I think we're pretty close. Yeah. I think they want it. They feel good about it, and it's a big deal. But they want it, and it keeps us in that country, and they're very happy about it. But we get our money back. This should have been signed long before we went in. This should have been signed by Biden, but Biden didn't know too much about what he was doing. The war should have never happened, number one. When it did happen, it could have been settled the first week or 2 weeks. After that, it got bad. It got really bad. But it should have never happened, and it should have been settled, and it could have been settled very easily at the beginning. Now it's tougher, but we'll get it settled.
Germany has elections on Sunday. What are your thoughts? What do you expect to happen in the elections on Sunday?
Who has elections?
Germany.
Oh, Germany. I wish them luck. We got our own
Okay,
problems.
okay. So you heard it from the horse's mouth about some of the things that he's going to work on. Tariffs. He's doing different things with the USPS, and USPS. Doge also is in full effect with finding different things that have been mismanaged, probably on purpose. And the Democrats are going stir crazy, of course, because of Doge. Now I want to move on to the chat room before I go too far. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room. If you guys have not, please hit the like button. I don't know why it is so difficult to get people to hit the like button. It's really kind of odd. I have so many people watching me in the thousands, and it is kind of unnerving to see not many likes. I wish that you guys are coming here for a reason or something, so you might as well support. Angela says, 4B, what's your nickname or something? I can call you again. You can call me 4Black, or Liberty is fine. That's fine. Karen Bass needs to fire herself. Cannot believe she did not resign. African Goddess says, I know that's right. And Plock says, you not on the sidelines. We need you always and forever. MAGA loves you. I appreciate that. I'm on the sidelines of not protesting, though. We're on the sidelines of not being bullied into doing something that we don't want to do. And we're on the sidelines because, we want to see what other people are capable of doing without trying to use us as scapegoats and sacrificial lambs for other people to benefit off of our deaths or jailings or being beat up or bruised up. We don't want to do nothing like that. So the Black people of America, for the most part, are on the sidelines, and we'll get on to that topic a little bit later. Angela or Plock says bipartisan is the only wins. Okay. Angela says I'm in global trade. The tariffs have caused so much extra trouble for me, but I understand it's for our country's greater good. I live in a country I love, and I'd like my son to have the same. I heard that, Angela. Thank you for sharing your comment. You said he is not lazy. What he's doing is common sense, and the direction we are going was unsustainable. You're right about that. And we have to look at it, the glass on half full. instead of empty, because, you know, Trump is doing the right thing overall. He's overhauling what has been going on wrong with everything in this country. The Democrats have been abusive and abusing their power. And obviously, with all these findings of fraud, they've been filling their pockets, lining up their pockets. And they're very upset that all this stuff is coming out, and they're worried about going to jail, I'm sure. They're worried about being called out and everything else under the sun that is attached to all this frauding that's been going on. But they're going to have to get over themselves. Plock says, no fearmonger, but we should still speak on stuff we have issues with. Exactly. I do speak on stuff on here. That's what I use this platform for. You also said, if not, we are hypocrites. Yeah. African Goddess says, I like your attitude. Things won't get better overnight. In fact, they are likely to get worse before they get better. Yeah, that's what we have to kind of prepare for. You're right about that. But I'm hoping after 2-3 months, things are going to smooth out. That's what I'm hopeful for. Angela also says a fiscally responsible country is a country that will last the test of time. We need to focus on our own problems instead of helping everyone else. America was in a deep trouble. Exactly. African Goddess says, plus, if USA fails, it will bring down a lot of other countries with it. Yes, we definitely are connected globally, whether we like it or not, and it will have a ripple effect to the world. R1B4 says spray tan needs a calibration. Okay. African Goddess says EU had no choice. They know the party is over. Yes. Michael says 1.5 trillion from the Crown Prince of Dubai saved our ass. Is that right? Michael, how so? Can you elaborate on that? African Goddess says the number of young men's lives lost in that war is disgusting. Yeah, it really is. And it's not really talked about too much, but it is. Word vomit, short period of time, and haha, R1B says. Okay, and Trump baby Justin says, okay, so what I found very ironic is this Mayor Bass, who removed the chief, Kristen Crowley, from the fire department. And I really feel like she is doing it because she is covering her ass. She was gone in Ghana. She didn't check the weather, so she claims. But we want to listen to what she had to say in this press conference, because I thought it was pretty interesting that she did this very publicly. Anyways, let's look at this.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Acting in the best interest of Los Angeles public safety and for the operations of the Los Angeles Fire Department, I just met with Chief Crowley and removed her as fire chief. I have appointed a 41-year veteran of the fire department, former Chief Deputy Ronald Villanueva, as interim fire chief. He is respected and ready to hit the ground running. So let me be clear. Our firefighters acted heroically during the Palisades fire, and they act heroically every single day. That is without question. Bringing new leadership to the fire department is what they and the people of Los Angeles deserve. As you know, I have called for a full investigation of everything leading up to January 7th. A necessary step to the investigation was the president of the Fire Commission telling Chief Crowley to do an after-action report on the fires. The fire chief refused. We all know that 1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch. These actions required her removal. While the department is in the experienced and expert hands of Chief Villanueva, my office will lead a national search, and I will speak directly with firefighters and Angelenos about what they want to see in the next fire chief. I will use a similar process as I did in searching for our police chief. The business of the fire department and the city will continue. Our heroic firefighters are on the job in our firehouses, engines, trucks, and ambulances. The recovery of the Palisades is months ahead of expectations. Los Angeles is moving forward on all fronts, and we will keep moving forward together. I'd now like to introduce the Chief of the Los Angeles Fire Department, Ronnie Villanueva.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. I am humbled by your confidence in me. I've spent 41 years at the Los Angeles City Fire Department, working alongside the finest fire professionals in the world. Leading them is an honor of a lifetime. I pledge to the mayor, our firefighters, and to the people of Los Angeles is that the Los Angeles City Fire Department will be prepared. The Los Angeles City Fire Department will respond, and the Los Angeles City Fire Department will keep you safe. And to all of firefighters, I want you to know the love that I have for this department is the reason I'm coming back in this capacity. I watched last month as you were in the fiercest firefight in Los Angeles history, bravely battling the fires for days on end. I am grateful to work alongside all of you once again. Thank you very much.
And before I open it up for questions, let me acknowledge the President of the City Council, Marquise Harris Dawson, Councilmember Curran Price, Councilmember Hugo Soto Martinez, Councilmember Adrienne Nazarian. Yes.
Well, I have a question for you. You said that removing Chief Crowley is in the best interest of Los Angeles public safety. What specifically did she do to endanger public safety?
Well, as I mentioned, 1,000 firefighters who could have been on the job fighting the fires were sent home. The other thing that I mentioned is that I said after the fires were out, after the rain had stopped, that a full investigation would begin. One step of that investigation was to do an after-action report, of which she refused.
So we knew the 1,000 firefighters could have been called in the day after the fire. What changed?
What changed?
You said you weren't planning on firing her on January 11th.
Oh, well, let me just be clear. As I just said, while Los Angeles was on fire, after that we had rains. I was not going to do anything while we were in a state of emergency. Next.
Are we still in a state of emergency?
No, we are not in a state of emergency right now. Next question.
Mayor,
Yes.
the chief, I assume you met, I assume this is not a decision you made this morning. When did you meet with Chief Crowley, former Chief Crowley?
About an hour ago.
And how did the meeting go?
It was very brief.
And did she tell you anything about why she did what she did?
It was a very brief meeting, no.
And the investigation that she didn't participate in?
Yes.
How did she not participate? Exactly.
Well, what I said is that the president of the Fire Commission told her to do a after-action report. She refused to do the report.
Did you give a reason for refusing?
Next.
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. Did the former chief ever talk about, what plan was in place, where she had positioned the firefighters? Is that become clear to you?
No, it is not. Next question.
Is the city required to do an after-action report under California Title 19?
Yes, it is required. I don't know about the title that you just mentioned, but yes, it is.
Do you understand that LA County Fire Department is doing?
I do not know that.
Okay.
Yes,
You said that Chief Crowley did not call her from your office at a time that they got with previous fires. I'm wondering what's the person they called before previous fires, the deputy mayor or public safety Brian Lynn, who's on leave?
what I can tell you is that what has happened in the 2+ years I've been here, every time there was a weather emergency or even a hint of a weather emergency, the chief has called me directly. She has my cell phone. She knows she can call me 24/7. And she briefed me, and then we would talk about what needed to happen next. That did not happen this time.
Warnings ahead of time. Are you
Yes.
saying you had no idea before you went to Ghana?
Excuse me? Yes.
When exactly was it that you asked her when she was asked to do the after-action report? What was her justification?
I don't know her justification. She was asked this week. I learned about this yesterday.
chief last this week?
Yeah, it was this week. Yes.
Are you
Yes.
seeing any of the forecasts before you went to Ghana?
Yes.
What's the reasoning for not having 1,000 firefighters?
I'm noticing she don't want to really deal with being in Ghana during this beginning of the fire, because she could have got the forecast for the weather, and she should have known that it was prone to have fires, and she should have not went to Ghana. But she doesn't want to deal with that. She wants to scapegoat the chief, this Crowley chief, and that's what she's decided to do.
I don't know. I don't know what the reason was.
Did you
Yes.
see the forecasts before you went to Ghana?
No.
No, you didn't.
When
Yes.
did you first begin on 7th or 8th? When did you connect with her?
I spoke to her the evening of the 7th.
The evening of the 7th?
Yes.
Ghana time or?
Exactly, which was the morning here. So it was after the fire started. But let me just be clear. Los Angeles needs to move forward. This is a new day. I am excited to welcome our new chief, who was a 41-year veteran of this fire department. He is well known. He is well liked. He knows most of the members of the city council, except for our 2 members that were recently elected. And it is our plan to continue moving forward. We want to have the full investigation that the governor has ordered and the investigation that we will do locally. Yes.
Thank you again. I wanted to back up a little bit because I think you actually spoke with the chief, because I heard it live on KNX News at 12:47 p.m. local time. You're in West Africa, the chief is here, and you're on KNX News talking about the fire disaster, and you're praising Chief Crowley for pre-positioning units that were necessary in vulnerable places. You're also praising her leadership, and you said something to the fact of LAFD is always at the ready.
And needless to say, I did not know all the facts, but I had spoken to her maybe a couple of hours before that. Yes.
2 quick questions. In terms of investigations, since we're looking at the fire, is there anything calls for the firing of these people with the issue of the rest of the laws, who's nothing in that area? Are you looking into that as a possibility?
There will be an investigation of the water situation as well, and that will be done by the governor.
Same thing with the issue of fire hydrants?
Yes. All of that is being examined at the governor's initiation, and we might do something locally as well.
And to those who might say that your step now, as explained as it is, and it wasn't a sound, it's also a reaction to her criticism to your office about the budget.
Let me just be clear about the budget. The fire department was not cut. I have done 2 budgets in my time here. In both budgets, the budget was increased, and I will anticipate that it will be increased this time as well.
I see you have 4 members of city council behind you.
I'm sorry?
I see 4 members of city council behind you. Do you expect that other members of city council will fight the ouster? I know you've not heard your guys' planning to fight it. Do you think that you have enough support on council to avoid getting that 10 vote over?
I believe that there is a lot of support on the city council. Yes?
Does this add to the sense of upheaval that has been going on for the last 5 weeks? You've had tensions with Jersey Horvath, you've had back and forth over Steve Silverhoff's pay. This now is a new, potentially destabilizing event. Is the city in upheaval? Is your office?
The city is not in upheaval. I am very happy that the rebuilding, the restoration, the clearing of the fire, of the debris is moved forward way ahead of time. We have just experienced the worst natural disaster that our city has ever experienced. It would be wonderful to think that everything would be smooth every step of the way, but I don't believe that that is realistic. I think we are standing together. I think we're standing strong, as evidenced by the leadership of the city council being here with me, with members of the city council, and there's many more that are not here. We have worked very well together. Now, are there differences along the way? Of course they are. Yes.
Your comments about not getting a phone call, probably, I think that for some people, they see you as the top of the food chain. You're in charge. You're supposed to be the one getting information from people. And You're not supposed to blame others. You're supposed to be responsible.
Let me just say that yes, as the mayor of the city, the buck stops with me. I am in charge. However, the person in charge of the fire department, as I mentioned before, whenever there was a fire emergency, a weather emergency, or a hint of a problem, I am contacted directly, and not just by Chief Crowley, but by any of the heads of the departments. As you know, we have over 40 departments. I'll take a couple more. Yes.
My understanding is that the city council is motions of an after action report. Was Chief Crowley participating with that investigation?
I do not know that.
Do you only get your information from your aides and chiefs and things like that, or do you watch other outside news sources?
Oh, I watch news all the time. Yes. I'm sorry? What did you say?
Any sense of where the firing stands on this decision?
I do not know. Okay, one final question from you. You've not asked a question.
Also, any plans for the department? You
I just plan on moving forward. I want to move the department forward and take care of our firefighters. So I don't want to look backwards. I don't want to look to the past, like the mayor stated. I just want to look for the future. En español, quiero nomás que los bomberos ven el futuro y la gente también de la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Yo estoy bien orgulloso de estar en esta posición, este puesto, y doy gracias a todos. Gracias.
Okay, so she threw that chief underneath the bus, in my opinion. I believe that she's covering up her butt so that she don't get fired. So she had to find a scapegoat, and she found it in that chief. Now that chief has now been demoted. The chief is not like let go totally, but is been demoted. Let me find that video. If you guys have not yet, please hit the like button. Please share and subscribe to the channel. That will be greatly appreciated. Let me see, where is that video at? Okay, so Kristen Crowley, if I'm saying it right, Crowley, she is going to stay at the LAFD at a lower rank, pending her termination. Hold on, it's this commercial. And then when I get done with this, I have to say some sad news pertaining to the fire department.
Rob. Yeah, the mayor says she met with the fire chief late this morning and an hour later announced that she had fired Chief Crowley. The aftermath of the deadly fires devolving into an ugly city hall blame game. From fire chief to just plain fired, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass today terminating Chief Kristen Crowley, blaming her for improperly staffing the Palisades and Eaton fires.
We all know that 1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch. These actions required her removal.
In the wake of those deadly fires, Bass and Crowley initially appeared supportive of each other, side by side at news conferences. But it didn't take long for a rift to form.
We took a $17 million budget cut.
The fire chief blasting the city for underfunding and understaffing the department, leaving it vulnerable.
The fire department needs help. We do not have enough firefighters. With that, I have also requested multiple budgets, interim budgets, to show how understaffed, under-resourced, and underfunded the LAFD is.
In turn, Bass slammed Chief Crowley for refusing to put together a required after-action report as part of the mayor's investigation into the fire response. And earlier this week, Mayor Bass, who is overseas in Ghana when the fires broke out, blamed the fire department for failing to warn her of the potentially deadly weather conditions that were headed to LA.
Every time there was a weather emergency or even a hint of a weather emergency, the chief has called me directly. That did not happen this time.
The fire department says it followed its standard preparation procedures and issued public and media advisories. These warning posts on acts dating back a week before the fires.
Did you see the forecast? before you went to Ghana?
No.
We reached out to Crowley for comment on her dismissal, but haven't heard back. The fire department refused to comment. In the meantime, retired LAFD firefighter Ronnie Villanueva will take the helm as interim fire chief.
The Los Angeles City Fire Department will be prepared. The Los Angeles City Fire Department will respond, and the Los Angeles City Fire Department will keep you safe.
Now, we're also learning that Crowley has chosen to stay on with the fire department at a lower rank. LA's civil service rules give her that option. What that position might be, however, will be determined by the new interim fire chief. Reporting live in downtown LA, Rob Hayes, ABC 7.
Wow. So at least she keeps a job, but that's jacked up. That is jacked up how Bass did her. And I think that she should be held accountable for this as well. I don't think that that lady, Kristen Crowley, should hold the weight of all that happened with that fire, because it was the most extreme thing that we have ever noted, that I've ever noted, as far as these fires have ever been. Now, there was a recent unaliving of a chief in the fire department. Let me see if I can find that video. I just had it. Come on. Where did you go? Okay. A California fire captain, rather, not chief, was actually found stabbed to death inside of her San Diego County home. This is breaking. Well, this happened 3 days ago. I didn't hear about it until right now. But let me play this. Rest in peace to this lady who has lost her life in San Diego.
And new tonight at 6, an Inland Empire fire captain murdered in her home. Tonight, deputies trying to figure out who is behind it and why. Yeah. Well, KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers is at the desk. And Mike, you had CBS San Diego on the phone. You have both been working this story today.
Yeah, and moments ago, Pat, I just got an update from the San Diego County Sheriff's Office. Now, she worked here in the Inland Empire, but she is from and was living in Ramona, which is down in San Diego County. They tell us that they don't have a suspect in custody, but believe this may be a domestic violence-related incident. They say the fire captain was found stabbed to death in her home yesterday. Her CAL FIRE co-workers coming to find her and ultimately determine her dead. This is a procession that led from her home to the medical examiner coroner's office down there in San Diego County. Now, we're talking about fire captain Rebecca Marodi. Marodi worked in Southern California, in our area, the Inland Empire, for her entire 30-year career with the fire service, both in San Bernardino and Riverside County. She was most recently a fire captain at the French Valley Station. There you see her there after a video was posted after she and her crew rescued a person down there in the Riverside County area of the Moreno Valley. Now, the captain has, as I mentioned, been in the fire service for 30 years. The exact circumstances behind her murder are unclear at this point. San Diego Sheriff's Department says they are actively working the case, Pat, and as I mentioned, at this point, they believe it may have been domestic violence related, though they have not located a person. They have not named a suspect. But tonight, those homicide investigators trying to figure out how this very beloved fire captain was killed in her own home.
Yeah, very tragic, but a lot of work to do there, Mike. Thank you.
Rest in peace to that young lady that lost her life. She didn't look to be over 45, I would imagine. I don't know how old she was, but she didn't look that old. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room before I continue. I hope that you guys would support by hitting that like button. Please hit support and share, subscribe to the channel. Let me see what you guys have to add. Do you guys feel that Bass scapegoated this Kristen Crowley, or do you think that she was in her rights to fire the then Chief Crowley? Let me see. Where was I? I read that. Okay, David says, why would she send 1,000 people home for the day? Sounds fishy. Yeah, that was, especially if you looked at the weather report. Why did they fire the fire chief? Because they needed a scapegoat. They claimed that she didn't have 1,000 people on duty for that fire, that she opted to send them home or not have them come, either or. 1,000 people were supposedly missing that should have been utilized. That's what Mayor Bass claimed. Angela says, Bill, yes, she refused to do a report. Her boss told her needed to be done. Okay, that too. Jeff says the damn mayor should be removed from office. Yes, I believe so too. What's up, Godfather? How are you? Hamburger, how are you? Yes, scapegoating. Bill says, are they using the fire chief as a scapegoat? I believe so, Bill. That's what I think is going on. Angela says it's also very fishy. She sent so many fire department staff home. I think this is a great big scam. What they're after, I do not know, but it is fishy. Jeff says, how can this woman justify firing the fire chief for supposedly not doing her job when she herself decided to leave the country for a wedding while her city was burning? Kind of ass backwards. Yes, it is. Mayor refusing to accept any accountability. Exactly. Bad Eyes says she needs to be in jail. Thank you for coming back, Bruce. Great to see you. James says, fire her. Bruce says, Angela, they paved it clean for the Chinese to move in. Ooh, they want the land to mine for battery minerals. Is that right, Bruce? Mab says that woman should resign. Her incompetence is infinite. Okay, and what's up to everybody in the chat? Thank you for coming back, Bruce. I really appreciate you. You said got to make sure he addresses the illegals. Haha says fire Karen Bass now. Bruce, you're illegal too, Lord. Okay. How you doing, child of God's light? The barefoot goddess says, why was her reasoning for firing the chief? Not having enough people on duty. 1,000 people weren't utilized and a report wasn't submitted. Bruce says, I was born here 58 years ago. My grandparents came here long ago, took the test, learned the laws, and became American citizens. Did it the right way. Natalie says, fire incompetent Karen Bass now. That's right. Aaron, African Goddess says, Bass is not taking any responsibility. It is shocking. It definitely is, because she looked like she got caught with her hair. Let me find that. Head caught in the deer light. Let me see how you say it. Caught like a deer in the headlight when she was asked about the fire initially. Hold on, let me see if I can find that. Karen Bass. Came back from Ghana. Let's see. I want you guys to remember how she looked here, because she looked at ridiculous. She looked at guilty as hell. And I know a lot of people were showcasing this video of her being caught up, hemmed up at the airport.
Comebacks never stop, whether you're scoring goals.
Mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, is under intense scrutiny after she was abroad visiting Ghana when the wildfires broke out in the city. She was seen returning to the country at the city's airport, where she refused to comment on the situation.
Fire chiefs say that they're really stretched to the limit and running out of water. What have you got to say to that? Have you no response to that? Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
That's how she was looking initially. So, again, she looked guilty as hell coming back from Ghana. She should never have been there in Ghana, running around trying to be a Pan-African, forgetting about her duties as a mayor. And I think that she's just as guilty as that chief that she fired. If that chief did what she says she did, as far as not having accessible 1,000 other crew members for those fires, then I get it. But she also was unavailable. She was gallivanting across to Africa, so why not be held accountable for what she decided to do? Rodney says she was with Cal Fire, killed by her wife. Is that right, Rodney? Did they say that? Bruce says she doesn't think she is in the wrong. She came back from everywhere she was and didn't say a word, has no comment. Nope. Bruce says Newsom acted almost giddy that it burned to the ground. Yes, he looked at awkward just like she did. Thank God for Trump, JoJo says. Exactly. African Goddess says they were short-staffed. She probably sent them home because they were tired. You can't do that. Yes, a scapegoat. Exactly. They were also stopped clearing the brush. They reported rerouted the water. They stopped clearing the brush, Bruce? Oh, wow. In Trump we trust, Mr. McLibtard says. All right. And she should have got on the first plane back. Yes. I like your voice. Keep up the good work. Thank you, haha. I really appreciate that. Please hit the like for those that have not yet. Hit the like button. And in other news, of course, there's been plenty of people that have been fired, the latest being the Pentagon. I want to do a report about that. Ironically, people in the military weren't spared of these firings. So let's look at this video for this latest update.
As I mentioned at the top of the show, we're following some breaking news this hour. Donald Trump has just fired General Charles Q. Brown, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the country's senior-most military official. That job is essentially the president's top military advisor, and it usually holds over as administrations change. That's typically what happened. I mean, Joe Biden kept Trump's Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley until he stepped down at the end of 2023. Donald Trump decided to buck with that tradition, and I have to say the optics here don't look great. CQ Brown was only the second black man to ever hold that position, and he just got fired amid Trump's push to end programs promoting equality in the federal government. He will be replaced by retired three-star Air Force Lieutenant General Dan Kane. Courtney Kuby is a senior NBC News correspondent covering national security and the Pentagon. Few people know more about what happens in that building than Courtney. Courtney, what we know at this point is limited amounts of reporting. There's obviously the Truth Social post from Donald Trump where he announces he's planning to nominate Air Force Lieutenant General Kane. I want to talk to you about that. But first, let me start by just asking you, what do we know about how he fired CQ Brown? Did he call him? Is there anything more we've learned about how this took place today?
Yeah, we know nothing about that, frankly. Now, we know CQ Brown was traveling. He had a trip to the border planned for today, and then he was supposed to travel on a little bit more domestically. So we know that trip went on, but beyond that, we just don't know. Look, here's the reality. We were expecting this to happen yesterday or today, so this isn't a huge surprise. We've been talking about the possibility of Lieutenant General Kane to replace the chairman. And just given the pattern of how this has been, the administration has been carrying out these sorts of things, we were all sort of expecting this to be on a Friday night. That being said, what we've gotten here are statements with no additional context to exactly what happened here. So we're still working through the details. This is all just breaking, and we've just gotten another statement actually from Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth laying out some additional people who were fired here as well tonight.
Well, do you have that in front of you? Do you want to share with us the details of that, or we can also pull it up too? Please go ahead.
I do, and so I mean, there's so much to talk through here. Okay, so several of the people who were fired, according now to Secretary Hegseth, and the way that this has been laid out, I should say, is that they are looking for people to replace these individuals. They're not actually saying they were fired, but the reality is that's what's happening here. So the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Lisa Franchetti, why that is an important person to mention here is she was the first woman to run the Navy, the first female chief of naval operations, and critically now both of the women who were in positions running service chiefs, that is the Commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard and now the Chief of Naval Operations, have now both been fired by President Donald Trump. Admiral Linda Fagan was fired within literally hours of Donald Trump being inaugurated, and now Lisa Franchetti. In addition to that, the Air Force Vice Chief of Staff, James Slife, also named tonight as being fired. There's no reason given for these, but the reality is General Slife has been someone who has promoted diversity issues within the Air Force, is known for that. That's candidly most likely why he was targeted. In addition to that, also several Judge Advocates General, JAGs, are also now set to be replaced, according to Pete Hegseth. But a little bit more on CQ Brown here. Look, we have heard from people very close to President Trump, including Secretary Hegseth. He wrote about in his book that he thought General Brown should be replaced as the chairman. We've also heard from the National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, others who have been very outspoken about this. But we had some reporting back in December that General Brown, the chairman, had a good meeting with President Trump at the Army-Navy game, and the belief was he would have a little bit of time to be in this job. At this point, there is no indication that anything has happened from the time President Trump was inaugurated until CQ Brown was relieved of his job today that was merit-based. Any reason, anything that has happened that has led to this. And all indications are that this is the long-standing gripes that President Trump and many of the people around him have had with CQ Brown that have led to this decision tonight. The reality is CQ Brown has served honorably for 4 decades in the U.S. Air Force. He has thousands of hours as a pilot, as a fighter pilot, and he has served in senior jobs, including the head of the Air Force in the Middle East, in the Asia Pacific, the Air Force Chief of Staff, selected for that job by Donald Trump, I might add, and then now as the chairman for just over a year.
Courtney Gibby, I know this news is just breaking.
I don't know if that's a good decision of Trump or not. I don't know what direction he's going in with these firings that he's doing on the high level of military. I hope it's not going to bite him in the ass or bite us all in the ass later. But as you know, he's been firing everywhere. Even the IRS has had layoffs or firings there as well. So let me show you the latest with that.
Thousands of federal workers have suddenly found themselves out of a job after President Trump took office and promised to slash government spending. The IRS has been one of the Trump administration's biggest targets.
And one of those recently let go workers is now telling her story. WGN's Julian Cruz has more.
Good evening. Close to 6,700 Internal Revenue Service employees losing their jobs this week. According to published reports, most of the job cuts hitting newer probationary employees, a significant number of those now former IRS employees stationed here in Chicago.
My particular office was filled with specialists, engineers, and economists.
Vanessa Marie Rollins describing her now disbanded team of Internal Revenue Service specialists.
Our role was to support the revenue agents in auditing large corporations and international high-wealth individuals.
Rollins, who worked in civil engineering for over a dozen years, joining the IRS in July, starting her job in the wake of the Biden administration's efforts to modernize the under-resourced Internal Revenue Service to more efficiently go after people and corporations not paying their fair share of taxes.
I was happy to do this work. I was happy to serve my country.
But job cuts for other federal agencies pushed by the Donald Trump administration, sparking protests like this one on President's Day at Chicago's Federal Plaza.
We knew something was brewing.
Then the emails arrived at the local IRS office. The subject line reading, "Notification of termination during probationary period."
On Wednesday afternoon, I received an email saying that I need to be in the office on Thursday and to be sure to bring in all of my government supplied equipment, badges.
And it was over. Rollins and an undetermined number of others in the Chicago office out on the street without a job, which for a variety of reasons, Rollins says, couldn't have come at a worse time.
I've had a lot of challenges. Last year I found out that I had cancer.
How do we help each other in
dealing with what we're seeing in Washington, D.C.
At a Northside Chicago roundtable discussion, Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy helping people deal with sudden job loss, vowing to push back on drastic job cuts and other executive orders by Mr. Trump.
There is a litigation strategy to be had, both on the inside of Congress, from our committees, but also on the outside through the state's attorneys generals, as well as not-for-profit organizations.
But lawsuits take time.
I had certainly cried a number of times during the day.
Rollins grieving the loss of the job she loved while looking at short-term health insurance options.
And it's very expensive.
We reached out to both the White House and IRS officials for comment. No word yet from Washington. Here in the Federal Plaza, Julian Cruz, WGN News.
And yes, I believe that she was a transgendered individual, but there are more than just the transgender person being fired that is affected. Also, another guy was affected. He gave an interview recently with KHOU about it. Let's listen to that. So just understand that a lot of people is getting fired regardless of gender or color. It really doesn't matter. He's firing thousands of people throughout different departments in different agencies.
Tonight, for the first time, we're hearing from a former IRS employee right here in Houston. He was one of thousands of federal employees abruptly laid off this week.
And he sat down exclusively with Michelle Choi to share how he's feeling and his message to those in power.
Nothing there. Nope. Nothing there.
As he waits for an official termination letter to arrive at his front door, Jason Charles shared the toll the last 48 hours has taken on him.
I can't believe this is happening, and it happened so fast. Like I said, I was just in training. I waited 4 months to go to training just to be fired.
He's one of 6,000 plus federal employees who work for the Internal Revenue Service fired this week as part of mass layoffs happening under the Trump administration. The majority of those workers, like Charles, were probationary workers employed for less than a year. Charles told us more than 24 employees were laid off from his office here off Gessner. He says it took over a year to get his dream job as a tax-exempt officer dealing with nonprofit organizations and compliance.
I wanted to serve the people.
And despite recent news, he'd held out hope his job would be spared.
How are you feeling?
Numb, confused, sad, angry, lost.
When did you get the official notice? Or was there an official notice?
We never got official notice. I got word from managers that had to be in the office yesterday. And we waited there all day until maybe 1 o'clock. And then it was kind of like a firing range. They lined us up, took our equipment, and sent us home.
His pride and passion taken away.
Excited. I was so excited to learn the job. I was telling my management I was going to be the best. They can count on me. Yeah, it's not like I have no say-so. Like, they just toss you away. I thought corporate America was like this, not the government. I thought the government takes care of their people.
When asked why he would speak out now,
this was the only way I had a voice. I can't go to Washington and go in the Oval Office. I can't contact my congressman. He's too busy. He doesn't want to hear me. I try to reach out. This is the only way I can get people to hear what happened.
According to a statement sent to KHOU 11, the National Treasury Employees Union president representing the Houston area believes more than 200 people working for the IRS offices in Houston have been fired just this week. These layoffs, of course, happening in the heart of tax season.
Every department has a probationary employee. Every department will be impacted. I don't know how severely, but the people will start seeing the impact soon.
Charles believes there will be a ripple effect.
Do you want your job back?
I would love my job back. I would love it back. To serve the American people and talk to people that I've talked to, I I would love our job back.
And has this message for the president.
Let us work. Let us do what they employed us to do, what we took our oath to do.
In Houston, Michelle Choi, KHOU 11 News.
And you can.
It's sad. You know, a lot of people are really upset and hurt about all this cleaning of the house that he is doing. Speedo X says, good. Donald Trump is cleaning house. Egg 7 says, thank you, President Trump. You said that a man, aka transgender. Yes, I was a transgender. Andy says, thank you, President Trump. A lot of people really don't care. Judy says, I'm so glad President Trump is back. It is by the grace and mercy of God we seeing this wonderful changes. Okay. Justice says, sorry, dude. Jeff says, if you want to help Black people, remind them we are all Americans. I do, Jeff, every time I come on this platform. In fact, I'm going to talk about that in just a minute to give you guys a heads up. The conversation's about to change to another segment of this video, whereby, unfortunately, for those that are not Black folks here in America, you don't have to have the gaslighting effect that we have had on social media. There's a lot of people that's trying to bully Black Americans into protesting, into, being seen and heard. We don't want to be seen and heard right now. We don't feel like it's our situation with the mass deportations, with the firings and everything like that. We want to wait and see what Trump's going to ultimately do. We don't want to extend our energy towards these protests. And people are really feeling like they are entitled to what we're supposed to be doing. They think that they can pimp us and trick us into doing whatever they want us to do. Even people from the Palestine situation, they are asking for our voices in protests, and we are not wanting to get involved. We're taking a break. After the elections, many Black folks that voted for Kamala Harris really feel like they did everything they were supposed to do. And they didn't get the candidate that they wished for. Of course, I was on the other side of that. I voted for Trump. But 92% Black American women voted for Kamala Harris. And I believe 87% voted that were Black American men that voted for Kamala Harris. And so we have decided collectively to not get involved in these mass protests. We don't want to get involved in anyone's plight or struggle. We have our own to consider. And people are going batshit crazy about it. And I know that if you're white, you're confused, and many other races of people are confused, but you guys don't get the gaslighting and this badgering and being accused of this and that because we don't want to get involved. No one bothers y'all. Y'all are left alone to decide what you want to do. No one says, where are the white people? No one says, where are the Arabic people at? No one says, where are the Indian people at? No one says, where all these other Latino people are at that voted for Trump to protest or do any of that. And so we are speaking out against all this gaslighting and all this accusatory language against us. And so I will be changing my conversation to that conversation after a brief beat of a song that I'm going to play after I read the rest of these comments. So if you are not here for that topic, you can check out. I'm giving you a heads up. It's not going to be about Trump no more or other news. Is going to be on this other topic. And so you might not be interested. And if you're not interested, then you can, go on to another platform or do your own thing. Moving right along. The Tagan says he was on probation. Yes, he was. Haha says, I guess the new thing to do is cry. What happened to true men that didn't show their emotions for pity? We cried, but in secret, not to get pity. I know that was kind of embarrassing a little bit there. Hunt Air says, agreed. Jeff Garner, glad to have Trump in office. Haha says the feelings and emotions no longer matter. They never did. Beverly says, no, you don't. Ismail Garcia says, facts. Joe, how you doing? Is back, says, in 2008, I worked a private sector job. I was earning $40 an hour. When the axe swung. Okay, then the axe swung. I was the breadwinner for a family of 8. Wow. I found another job in 3 months making $16 an hour. Bills didn't work out. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, Joe. Thanks for sharing. And it is really messed up what happened to you. And I'm sure that a lot of other people are saying the same thing and what's going on with them right now. So as I said, I'm going to do another topic after I do a brief break of a beat so that you guys can listen to that while I take a quick break. And then when I come back, we'll discuss this other topic that I have to do. And if you guys do not want to support, then you can just leave, or you can support by hitting the like button, sharing the video, subscribing to my channel, which will give me a chance to go take a quick break. In the meanwhile, please listen to this and I'll be right back. All right, that was the first African beat that I actually felt like I could have got my groove on. Oh, well. So to speak about what's been going on social media as of late, I have looked at various videos where people are really talking any kind of way to Black Americans about our lack of luster to be involved in protest or be involved in saying something, proving our worth for the causes of other people. And we have decided this time to sit out on the sidelines. We have decided this time to not get involved, to wait it out and see what's about to happen. And people are really becoming unglued. I've never seen nothing like it. And so many of us have stuff to say to people that are saying stuff to us. And I want to showcase some of those videos where this is being done. It's all over the place. If you guys don't know, it's everywhere. People are just expecting us to get involved, and they think that they have the right to tell us what to do. And it's really ridiculous. And I'm saying to these people, why not speak to your own kind? Why not speak to other races of people? Why are you signaling out Black Americans? We are not deserving of all this attention that we're getting. And it's very unfortunate that this is really showcasing how people view us. And they view us in a lot of ways like we're to be worked like slaves for them, even if it doesn't benefit us at all. And so here's the first video I'm going to show where this Latino woman is trying to call out to, us to speak up or whatever. Just different voices you're going to hear, and you're going to hear a response from Black folks that are kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired of hearing many people on these platforms that are either slickly saying stuff or directly accusing us of things, demanding of us to do things. And maybe not all the videos are outright saying it, because I have shown videos where they have already. For those that have been with me should know, those videos are definitely been shown on my platform. But I'm going to do my best to show. I haven't seen any of these videos, but these are the examples of what has been going on. If you have not yet, please do me a favor by hitting that like button. I would greatly appreciate it.
On the story, so that when they come out on the story, they may not make it back home. And we will not see you people speaking up. The fact that these people do not understand that Black people are also going through it too in their own community is something that I don't know how to explain to them. Let's get into this video.
Called out the racism and colorism in the Latino community and got so many comments like this one. What about Black people being racist against Latina people? Let's talk about it. But first, quick reminder. Correcting someone's grammar or spelling, even if they're a racist prick, is still something I don't appreciate on my page. Access to education is privilege that not all of us have. And I mean this in a completely non-ironic way. My own grandparents never had access to education, including elementary school. They never learned how to read or write. My grandpa collected trash, and my grandma sold candy on the streets, while other children attended elementary school. I myself am neurodiverse, and I struggle with spelling. Now, let's get into this comment. First of all, millions of Latina people are Black, which seems to be something that a lot of you commenting this continuously forgets, which in and of itself is colorism.
That's a joke, because most times Latino people want to identify as being more white than anything. So she's trying to connect herself to us, claiming that they identify as being Black, but that is for the most part not true. So this is just a way of manipulating us to make us think that we're all in this together type of bullshit. But we're not in this all together. And I don't understand why she does not talk to the Latino people that deserted them, abandoned them, and voted for Trump. This is the people they should be calling out and demanding that they show support because of these mass deportation, not to the Black folks. We don't have nothing to do with these mass deportations. The Black people, by and large, voted for Kamala Harris, and they voted to stave off these mass deportations. So I don't see why we're being the ones picked on. But again, we're easy targets. We're always scapegoated. This is what's been going on social media for a while now. Since Trump won the election, they began immediately.
Now, why have I never address this, even though there's many videos on my page that you can find about me addressing the colorism and racism in my own community. It's because I'm not Black. I come from indigenous Mexican people. I feel confident talking about issues from my own community. Do I know what you're talking about? Yes. Have I experienced it myself? Last time was yesterday, when we went shopping with my dad before he left back to Mexico, and we were speaking in Spanish, and the person at the store kept basically racially profiling us throughout the entire store until I got fed up and left. And yes, that salesperson was a Black woman that then made a comment to another salesperson about the fact that my dad is paying with only cash because she remembered us from the day before. In that moment, I did not call her out when she basically called my dad a narco. The reason why is because I respect the boundaries of my dad and he doesn't want me to do that. I spent my whole life defending him because I have a lot of white privilege. And I know and respect that my dad does not appreciate these kind of confrontations, especially in a foreign country, in a language he doesn't speak. My dad doesn't speak English. So out of respect for him, I bit my tongue and we left without purchasing more. So yes, I know what these comments are referring to because I felt it too, many times. But it is important to remember the root of all of this. And the root all goes back to this. And that's why I will never stop saying that all of us should unite. And let's not forget who profits of communities of color being against each other. Because it's not—
Unite to what? Unite to what? So since they're in trouble and dire straits, scrambling all over the place, all these mass deportations affecting them and not us, what are we uniting over? They're trying to make us be the fall guy, the person that takes the bullets and the whatever, they want us to be in the front of the line and handle whatever comes their way as their bodyguards. And we're not wanting to be used up like that. There is no benefit for us to be out there protesting. There's no benefit for us to be using our voice right now for their struggles and their plights. It does not, excuse me, it does not help us one iota. This is why I tell Black Americans, please stand down. Don't get hoodwinked into doing stuff that does not benefit you. These people would never do nothing that benefits you. So just leave it where it is.
Of us. We gotta stick together and we gotta do better. And whataboutism is never helping a conversation.
Black women, if you don't want to be triggered, don't listen to the rest of this video, right? So I triggered myself. I went a place on TikTok that I knew I shouldn't have gone. They are trending and has been trending for some time. Hashtag Dear Black Women. And everybody's on this trend except for Black women, right? There's white people talking to us, white women talking to us. I saw an Asian lady talking to us. She had the best one. I favorited her and I'm probably going to duet it or something. She had the best one. Black men talking to us. Wahite, LGBTQI people talking to us. And they're all talking about us resting and... All right, so listen, I'm going to do it, dear Black women. We are fucking amazing. We are beautiful. We are intelligent. We are doing our fucking thing by resting. Do not let these motherfuckers gaslight you out of your rest time because they are fucking trying. They are trying by saying, basically we don't deserve rest. They're trying by saying, okay, take your little rest, but come back soon. They are trying by being we need you. They are trying with, I'm sorry. They are trying with, I know we didn't appreciate. They're trying with all of that shit. Fuck all of that stuff. We are resting. We are big resting. Not fucking coming back anytime soon. I don't know. It's going to be years. All right? All y'all want to know how long is black women's rest going to be? Years. We might not come back. Now what? We might not come back. But I'll tell you what. If you really want to know when our break is over, we'll shoot you an email. There'll be TikTok videos, all right? When black women have decided that we're done resting, look out for the TikTok videos. Stop fucking asking us on here when we're going to be done resting. I don't care. I don't care what is going on with the politics as far as us resting. I'm interested because it's interesting to fucking watch. Surprise, surprise.
Now, let me give you all an example of what I mean, some of these videos that are out here.
To all black women of America, I want to express my heartfelt apology for the role that many white Americans, including white women, played in electing Donald Trump. I recognize the pain and frustration that this has caused in black communities and the ways this outcome has undermined the rights, the safety, and the dignity of so many, especially black women. I understand that black women have long fought for justice and equity, not just for themselves, but for all marginalized communities. And your commitment to truth, resilience, and progress is truly inspiring. As a white person, I'm aware that part of my responsibility is to listen, learn, and actively challenge systems that harm and marginalize. And it's clear that actions speak louder than words. I'm still committed to doing the work necessary to help build a future where all voices are heard and respected. Thank you for your continued strength and leadership.
This is called gaslighting. This is called singling out black women. We are not people's mules as they think we are. What is wrong with this woman not calling out other white people, other races of people? Why is it that she's just singling out black women? Because they have been used by the Democrats as mules and crash dummies for years and years upon decades and years upon decades. And many of us finally are waking up saying, why are we being used and we're not getting nothing out of the Democrats or out of any other party thus far? Why not sit this out and just wait and see what Trump's about to do? There is no reason for us to put our neck out there for anybody. But here she is talking to black women, saying specifically, gaslighting us about what we need to do, trying to make us feel guilted or feel sorry and all this type of thing. That's what she's calling herself doing.
I'm committed to being an ally in creating positive, lasting changes so that we can all live equally in this country. To all of the white women who let everyone else down, check back with me in 4 years. I'm sorry for your daughters. I'm sorry for your sisters that you made a choice to vote a convicted criminal into the presidency. You complain about crime committed by people who came to this country to seek a new life, but you weren't worried about putting a criminal in office again. You must be aware that he's about to use his power to save himself and to save every insurrectionist who was sentenced as a result of the insurrection. You are truly about to see what misuse of power looks like.
Hey, fellow white women who voted for Kamala, this is not our opportunity to use black women to ask them to do the labor of providing us with comfort and alleviating our fear and anxiety over the election. We're also not going to come to black women expecting them to give us a pat on the back and say, we know you're not one of the bad ones. You did what you could, hun. And also, it is not our place to go to black women when they're criticizing white women. I mean, have you looked at the numbers? And to tell them, not me, it wasn't me, I'm one of the good ones. Stop putting that on black women. Stop it. Don't do it.
If you've got big feelings of fear and trepidation about the future, about our rights as women, if you have intense anger and disappointment at other white women, shame about our demographic, stop asking Black women to manage those feelings for you. You are a grown-ass woman, and you get to deal with them. And then how you can turn those feelings.
Well, that's good that you do have a white woman that is speaking the truth, but by and large, they're mostly gaslighting us. But let's get back to this.
Interested, because it's interesting to fucking watch. You know, surprise, surprise, like all of that shit. I'm enjoying it. But the point of the matter of me coming out arresting or other Black women coming out arresting, this is the type of fucking abuse that led us to arrest to begin with. Everybody the fuck else has gotten to take a break whenever they fucking felt like it. Everybody the fuck else has been able to show up for people when they fucking feel like it and not show up when they don't fucking feel like it. Everybody else has had the right to say, this isn't my fight, I'm out of it. Everybody else has had the right to go home and cook fucking spaghetti for their family, sit down on the couch, watch Netflix. Well, you know what? Us fucking too. I'm sick of this shit. It's so goddamn offensive. It is so fucking offensive that the rest of you motherfuckers keep coming and asking us to get out of rest. You know what? Get out of our fucking business. Get out of our fucking business. Yeah, I'm crashing the fuck out. I don't care. Like the last 45 minutes, I sat down watching all of these Dear Black Women fucking videos. Leave us the fuck alone. You know what else I saw? I saw a Latino woman say that she wanted us to do the labor of figuring out which is the good Latino from the bad Latina woman so that we can, like, come back out of rest and couple with just them, because she can't imagine herself pairing with anybody else. Well, fucking imagine it. Fucking imagine it, okay? So here's the thing. I'm gonna come off of rest for a moment and give you a fucking idea, and then I'm gonna go back the fuck to rest, right? So it's like 50% of Latino women voted for Kamala Harris. 46% of the Wajite women voted for Kamala Harris. 86% of Jewish women voted for Kamala Harris. Y'all could do like the fucking Avengers and go unite up. You don't need us. Leave us the fuck alone. We're fucking tired. Why don't y'all go couple up, do the Avenger thing, you know what I'm saying, and go fight for everybody's rights and whatever the fuck it is that you think that we were doing that you can't fucking do without us. Go fucking do that shit together. We on the couch. We're eating snacks. Get it? We are on our couches and we are eating snacks. We are on break. What is it that y'all have against people having an undisturbed break anyway? What is your issue with an undisturbed break? What is your issue with somebody saying, I'm clocked out for lunch, and you motherfuckers always got a goddamn question to come into the goddamn break room to ask somebody about when they said that they're on fucking break? Undisturbed fucking break.
Okay, well, there's a lot more where that comes from. There's other people that said a lot more stronger words than what she's saying. Let me see if I can find that video. They're not messing around no more, because we are tired of people just feeling like they are, you know, like we have to be beholden to them, and we're not having it. So this next person that really broke it down, I really like the fact that she shut down everybody. She really tore it up. Let's take a listen to this. Now, she is speaking very raw and very frank and brutish.
The 47% of white women that voted for Kamala Harris, bring your ass, because you can dock it today. And because I already know how to operate, let's get some church announcements out the way. 1, when faced with uncomfortable truths, a true ally will accept the information rather than react to it. 2, if it don't apply, let it the fuck fly. In other words, don't bring your sensitive asses in my comments telling me how your best friend is Black and giving me a laundry list of things you've done to help the Black community. This is me preemptively telling you I don't give a third. As far as my content is concerned, the feelings of white people, particularly white women, would never be centered nor considered. So if you're white and you follow, you can simply get out. Now let's get down to business. 47% are particularly the ones that go above and beyond to tell Black people, but Black women in particular, that you're a part of the 47%. It's not that you do it because of your love, support, and solidarity of Black women. It's about your image. Because you need to be on record as being part of the 47%, so that you're not perceived to be a part of the 53% because it's max. Because for whatever reason, you seem to think that you're better white women than they are. And newsflash, you aren't. Now, while you may not subscribe to and or believe in their racist beliefs and ideologies, as white women on a daily basis, you still benefit and profit from said racist beliefs and ideologies, nothing less. Another thing is that it's not lost, and it's not lost on me, and it's definitely not lost on white women. No generation of white people, especially white women, have ended white supremacy. Now, the only thing to do to end white supremacy in this country is to dismantle it and relinquish your white privilege. Two things that are a bridge too far for you, especially the last, which is why you'll change the name of a school, you'll change the name of a sports team, you'll take down statues, you'll volunteer in the very neighborhoods that you're gentrifying and pushing my people out of just to assuage your white guilt. You will do everything but give up that white privilege. White people are inherently mediocre. You just have to work not to be. And that's a topic for another time, but trust and believe I will be circled back. And it is because of your white mediocrity, which is why you require so much of Black women that you'll never require of yourself, because you just can't deliver. White women are the only people on the face of this earth that will betray you and then demand that you make them feel better about doing it. You don't have to tell me I'm wrong, because I already know you're right, because you do it all the time. And it's because of your white mediocrity that you don't mind being supported by Black women. You want to be supported and defended by Black women, but you don't want to be led by Black women. Because in order for you to be led by Black women, you have to, one, acknowledge your shortcomings, and two, forego being the center of attention. And considering the fact that you was born with main character syndrome, that's the fuckos can't fuck it. But what really bothers me is you white bitches that are all about, where's Kamala? I mean, we need her. She should be working. So you want a Black woman to do a job that you didn't elect her for. Because see, what you want is you want your individual vote counted, but you don't want the collective one to be counted. And it's the collective vote that making decisions. And as a collective, you once again voted for your whiteness. Because one thing about you white women...
Speaking of Kamala Harris, let me interject. She has been spotted at a Broadway, and she had some choice salad words to say in reference to whatever she's saying. I have a hard time really following what she means and what her conversations is about. But let's take a look at Kamala Harris. And she's not a Black woman. I reject the notion that she is a Black woman. She is not.
But spirit's tired, but not be defeated. Never let anybody defeat that. Because then what do we have left? When we think about like these moments where we see things that are being taken, but also let's see it as nature abhors a vacuum. So where there's a vacancy, then let's fill it. Right? And let's know that the reality is that the progress of our nation has always been about the expansion of rights, not the restriction of rights. We're seeing a U-turn right now. For those rights to be maintained, which means we have to be vigilant, and it's just the nature of it. That's all. Look at this beautiful play and everything that we know he had to suppress so much. But he knew it, he took those risks, but we have to be clear-eyed. And it doesn't mean we don't see the beauty in everything, right? These things all coexist. But I believe we fight for something, not against something. Right. And that's our optimism, right? Thank you so much. All right. With that,
she looked crazy. I don't know what the hell she was talking about.
Because one thing about you white women, you talk the talk. But when it's time to walk the walk, you walk your ass right on over there to white zones. And this election is no different. And you don't want your ashy and crusty ass heels to be held to the fire about that shit. You want to act like it didn't exist. And what pisses me off is that when Hillary Clinton lost, you're on a pinky hat, you did your little farts, you went to Starbucks and you called the day. You let that white lady lose in peace. You let her go take a break, go out on the lecture circuit, make money, and go mind her business. But the black woman, you want her to do the job and fire her to do. You should have thought about that shit when you was voting for the trickle-down patriarchy. Because she's going to learn that the patriarchy was brought up, was designed by white men for the sole benefit of white men. They view you as still being their property, just like you still view black women as being fuckers, and we're not. Kamala Harris don't owe you shit. Black women don't owe you shit. But you give us everything. And when I say everything, I'm talking everything. Because not only have we protected you, but we've raised you. And in some cases, you were sucking on our ancestors' tit because your mothers couldn't be bothered enough to do it themselves. They went from one porch drinking iced tea to just being drunk and popping pills because of their lives. Black women raised you. Black women saved you. But that shit is done. You're running an open tab since 1619 and you long bad bitch and settled the... Kamala Harris owes you nothing. You should have thought about what you needed when you was in the voting booth. You made your choice as a collective, and it was to uphold white supremacy and keep your privilege. Sing on up to it. And just as a reminder, this is my platform. I say what the and I mean what I say. Case closed and court adjourned. You should remember that before you step your ass in the fucking comment section. Have the day you deserve. White women, I know you hate to see my black ass.
Now, and on a good note, recently Trump hired a czar to pardon different people for different crimes and whatnot. And this person actually spent like 20 years in jail herself. And I want to discuss that real quick while to showcase Trump is doing something for the black community, because we have a lot of people that's in prison right now, in jail right now, that shouldn't even be there. And so it's very good of him to hire this woman here. Let me find the video. Let me see. Come on. Where did you go? Oh, of course, it takes a while to find it. Please hit the like button while I look for this video. Oh, here it is. All right. So she was supposed to be in jail for a lifetime, I believe. And I wanted to discuss what happened, but she is the one that's been designated as the pardon czar. Hold on.
When it really sank in was when they took me into that jail cell and the door was slammed behind me. And I couldn't hear anything but the echoing of that door in that room by myself. And that's when it really hit me that I'm never coming home.
How was the interview take one?
I went to prison in October. In fact, on Halloween, 1996. They sentenced me to life plus 25 years. I had no idea that a life sentence was even possible. And that is without the possibility of parole, because there's no parole in the federal system. My first and only husband, I met him when I was in school. He was the first man I dated. I was only 15. And I say immediately after finding out that I was pregnant, I was walking down the aisle in a ceremony to be married. And my husband never came to grips that he was now a married man. I can honestly say that I never just really felt like a wife. I put all of my energies into my children, though, because I always felt like I was a mother. My marriage finally ended after 19 years. I couldn't take it anymore. And when I did date someone, I dated the wrong person. Part of my job at FedEx required me to train and go to other cities, and this man who I was dating asked me if he could borrow my expense money, and he'd have it right back to me. I said, you must give it back to me. I only have 30 days. Are you sure you're going to give this back to me? He didn't give it back to me. And that's really how I lost my job. I started getting further and further behind in bills. In fact, I ended up filing bankruptcy and was about to lose my home. I was in such a stressed out situation. I didn't really know where to turn, but I never just had a conscious thought that I would do anything in my life criminal, because I'd never even been around anyone who were in criminal activities. The man I was dating, he gave someone my number, and when they arrived in town with drugs for him, they called me. I didn't do the drug deals. I never used or sold drugs, and that was it. The first time I got $1,000. And so I'm stepping away from this. I can't do this because I still know it's wrong. And when one of the men got caught who was transporting drugs, he had my phone number and his wallet. And they offered me 3 years as a plea agreement. My family had scraped the money together to hire a lawyer. He said, they haven't caught you with any drugs. And so he said, you need to fight, go to trial, because this will give you a criminal record. And I took his advice. I went to trial. And after 6 weeks of a trial, I was found guilty of attempted possession. I remember when I first hit federal ground, it was in a prison 1,500 miles away from my children. And I guess I must have looked a little bit lost there. It was a woman in a wheelchair. She called me over and she said, are you new here? I said, yes. She said, I can tell. What is your name? I told her my name was Alice. And she said, Alice, bloom where you're planted. God knows where you are. And that hit me.
And this is the lady that has been chosen as the czar of pardons. She is to look for different cases of people to pardon that she can submit to Trump to review, and he will make the last decision on whether or not to pardon the people that she brings up to him. But I have one such case. This is the type of case that most of us, really feel sorry for. A guy that was in jail for like close to 30 years, and he didn't commit a crime. He recently got out. His name is Robert Johnson, and he speaks for the very first time after his case was vacated, I guess it's called. Let me make sure. Yes, it was vacated. The conviction was vacated. So let's listen to this. This would be one such case that she would overturn or try to pardon. Let's take a listen.
You're looking live at 26 in California, where Robert Johnson, 43-year-old, has finally been released from prison. He's been in there for almost 30 years. He had his sentence vacated yesterday. I think he's coming up to the microphone, and let's hear what he has to say.
Robert, just tell us what you're feeling right now, man.
I didn't think this day was going to happen. They had me in that cage for 28 years and 10 months of my life for something I didn't have nothing to do with. I'm just thankful that we got in front of a judge that was honorable and that was fair and finally put an end to this nightmare, this hell on earth that I've been dealing with since I was 16 years old.
Robert, your family said you stayed so positive over the last 28 years. What was it like? What went through your head the last 3 decades?
I had my ups and downs. It was positive, negative. At one point, I was real bitter. I came up out of that because of my family. They supported me, kept my heart, and I'm really lost for words, but I'm gonna get through this here. I came up out of it, and I started fighting to prove my innocence. Started fighting to prove my innocence, and started writing people. I don't know how many letters I wrote, maybe thousands. No matter how many no's I got one yes. And that's when things started to change for me.
What's next for you?
What's next for me? I would really like to start making the world more conscious of there are a lot of people in prison for things that they didn't do. It seems to me that the public, it's like they see it on the news, but it's like they don't relate to it for some reason. They don't understand that it is a reality. Like it was just easy just for them to go in there and just say it was me. And I've been in here 28 years of my life. And it wasn't nothing I can do about it. I tried. I screamed. Wouldn't nobody listen to me. And I just want the world to know that there are people, there's still people here in prison, in the Cook County Jail, for things they didn't, for crimes that they didn't commit.
And that's what we need to be on board with, trying to support these type of cases. And hopefully the lady Alice Marie will be able to see these types of people pardoned. Now, I just found a video where she's discussing, her position as czar to pardon different people. Let's take a listen to that real quick.
No worries. No worries whatsoever.
Right. I can't see. Is my head cut off?
No. Can you see me?
I can see you very well.
Okay.
But I can't.
Your head is not cut off.
Okay. Are we okay? I'm sorry, my eyes are red. I'm so tired.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You look wonderful.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm ready. If you think I look.
I was just about to say that side right there. Just pull it back one more time. I just want you to blend it.
Oh my God.
There you go. Okay. Miss Alice Marie Johnson. Okay. First and foremost, let's talk about this new appointment. How did this come to be?
Well, I've been working with this administration. I've worked with them in the past on clemencies. In fact, I submitted over 100 clemency petitions to President Trump, and I was successful in almost half of those of helping people gain their freedom. And since that time, I've been continuing to advocate for the freedom of others. So I never stopped working on this, even when he left the administration. So we were in talks. I went to Mar-a-Lago a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about my position in the White House. And he agreed that I really brought great candidates. I have a lot of experience in this, and I have a very large advocacy network. So he felt that I was the perfect person for this position. And really, I'm very honored to be stepping into such a role.
Tell me about being in this position, clearly appointed by President Trump in this current environment that we are in. And of course, this all happens during Black History Month as well.
I think that's wonderful, because this was a very historic moment to be able to be appointed to this position in Black History Month. And it also was my grand twins, Aiden and Amira's birthday. So the timing was absolutely perfect. And I'm not going to say it happened to be Black History Month, but God divinely orchestrates our steps. So I believe this is a very good thing for those who are waiting for their freedom. It's a very good thing for our community, for our nation, because giving recommendations is more than just recommendations of freedom. It's making sure that those who are being considered have a very good infrastructure that's set up for them so that they're able to flourish when they go back into their communities. And another thing that I'll be working closely on is prevention strategies with our youth to help shrink that footprint of our youth from the schoolhouse to the jailhouse imprint that seems to be very prevalent right now.
Well, let's be clear, when it comes to advocating for those behind bars right now, that does not mean with your position, your current position, you will be advocating for all prisoners. There are a certain select few that you're advocating for.
Absolutely. There are some, as we both know, that would be a threat to our communities. And for me, honestly, community safety is number one. And number two, has this person rehabilitated? Have they completed, what is considered retribution? Is there, as I say, is there a safety concern? Do they have the structure to not reoffend again? Do we have the mental health? Do we have jobs that are waiting for them? So there's a lot of different components that go into this work. It's not just saying, let's release people and they don't have a chance. I want to give them their best chance at a second chance.
So that is the czar. The lady name is Alice Marie Johnson. He would be a perfect candidate for that, but a judge basically vacated for him to be out. Let's continue to listen to the rest of this.
For crimes that they didn't commit. And I just wish the public will be outraged about it.
Of course, you missed memories for decades with your family. What does it mean to have the support system and kind of how make up for that lost time?
It means the world to me. My grandmother, she used to always say, well Robert, I hope I'm here when you get out. And I used to always say, Grandma, don't say that. You gonna be here. Man, she was here. She's here. No.
And what did you do to keep going when you're thinking that way for so long? How did you feel the strength?
At one point, I had lost my faith in God, and then I regained it. My grandma, she's real strong in her faith, and she raised me that way. And I didn't stray too far from it. I grasped back to it, and like I say, my family, they kept me strong, and other supporters kept me strong as well.
When did you start to realize this might be possible? When they took up your case with the exoneration process, when did you start to really realize you could get out of it?
Well, what? Because I was really starting to lose hope. When I started to really gain hope is when I was introduced to a journalist from New York. Her name is Elise. I talked to her on the phone, and she told me, well, I'm not making no promises. I'll see what I can do. It was just something in her voice that gave me hope. And she talked to Allison. I don't know what she talked to her. And when Allison responded back, it was real positive, and the ball started rolling, and that's when I really started to say this could possibly happen for me.
And you got your education in there?
Yeah, I got my GED, which was hard because in Menard, when you have a lot of time, they put you at the end of the list. So it took me 7 years to get in school. And I had to literally keep on writing and keep on bothering them about it. They finally gave me the opportunity. I also have, I think, 46 credits towards my associate's degree. I wasn't able to complete it because of COVID. They stopped allowing us to go to school, and they haven't brought it back since.
What do you think tonight for tonight? I know this is a homecoming of all of us.
Your aunt said Cheesecake Factory. What do you think? What do you want to eat first?
That's really just a home-cooked meal. The food in prison, I'm sure y'all know, is horrible.
Like I said, this is the type of thing that Black folks need to be behind, supporting different people that are, in jail and they don't need to be there, or they were wrongfully convicted. That is our struggle that we deal with. Those are the families that have been separated. That is our plight and struggle that we should get together on and try to support Alice Johnson and everybody that is trying to make a difference in that regard, not mass deportations, not other people's plights that have nothing to do with our struggle as being American. And so for people to still feel like We are obligated to do their due. We're not having none of it, and that's what it is. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room. I'm not going to be on here for 3 hours today. I thought that I would come on slightly today just to do a shorter video, but I want to get you guys' comments before I go. I hope that people understand that, you know, it's not cool to be gaslighting anyone for anything. And, you know, us getting so much attention about not protesting and whatnot is getting on my last nerves to see videos after videos after videos of people talking against us and making us feel, you know, kind of weirded out. You said, Jim 22 says, I would love for you to tell me how my vote didn't count. I don't know if it did or didn't. Who did you vote for? Did you vote for Trump? If you voted for Trump, it definitely counted. If you voted for Kamala, you fell short. You said, sounds like a comprehension issue about the 14th Amendment. I don't know what you mean by that. The 14th Amendment is my birthright. Maria says he may be better off in prison with the stuff going on now. No, never that, Maria. He's been in jail for almost 30 years, Maria. He needs to be home with his family. He went in jail when he was 16 years old. 16. That is incredible. Gabrielle says you lost your privilege to vote from here on out if you're married. I'm not married. But why do you say that? Why would a married person lose their vote? Do you know something I don't know? Jim says, but hey, it's okay. Let's talk this through. How will my black vote not matter? I think that most of us do matter, but a lot of us take it upon ourselves to sit on the couch. A lot of us did sit on the couch for this election. They didn't want to vote for Trump or Kamala Harris, but luckily the better person won this election, which happens to be Trump. You said gerrymandering, Israel. I don't know what that means. You said, okay, show me the law. You know, they have to document these changes. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I want you to reference it. That's your belief. I guess you're talking among yourself. You should validate your own beliefs, love. I do validate my own. And you're confusing people in the chat room, Jim. We won't have a vote. You now have a king, Israel says. I don't think that's going to happen. Like and share. Thanks for your support for everybody. Thank you, Charles. Thank you for that. So you're telling me that I am and how I think. Again, very democratic of you. Okay, you guys are talking among yourself. Other kings think our king a fool. Okay. Gabrielle says, Israel, your people can't join the military anymore or have black-owned businesses. What do you think the future means for you? I don't think that's true. I think he got rid of the DEI out of the military. He fired some black people. He fired some white people. He fired, I think, all transgender people. So a little bit of everybody got affected by these firings, as you know, or you should know. All right. No black-owned businesses. What are you talking about? Jim says. J. Ray, how are you? You said Big Mad he can't play in women's sports anymore. Okay. Stop lying, girl. You know you've been smoking. Who are you talking to? No, show me the law or reference what you're saying. It's not much to ask. All right, let me find a real comment. Maria says, regardless of who we voted for, we are all going to be screwed one way or the other, so buckle up. Gabrielle says, Jim, look it up unless you have some mental capability stopping you. Okay, you guys are clowning. I want to find it and show it. You know, you just heard it, nothing you actually read, and it shows. What? All righty then. You guys are all over the place in the chat. Jay Ray says, if anyone feels they are going to lose any rights or be screwed over, just pack your stuff up and move out the country. You are free to do so at any time. Exactly. All right. I don't really have a lot of comments. All the Trump haters, make sure you do not accept your Doge refund checks. I'm going to need you to stand on business when they go out. Yeah, speaking of which, Doge is saying that they want to give $5,000 to people. And I would think that that is a good way to go with all the findings of crime or fraud that we have found. So that would be a great thing if they would do that, I'm good and I'm excited to see the leaps my people make in these coming years. All this yapping, is anyone trapping that like? Okay, I don't. If you believe you'll get a check from them, there's a problem, Maria. I don't think that is so far-fetched though, Maria. It is highly probable that we will get a check because he's going to be saving probably more than $1 trillion towards all these firings that he's doing. I'm excited to see the growth in our Black men and our children. Our women have done some heavy work, and now we can grow. Y'all get ready. Game is over, and we're about to win. Gabrielle is asking, do you think this is your country? It is our country, Gabrielle. We're here, aren't we? Just like you if you're here. Jim says it starts with the mentality first. It starts with the mentality first. Change your mind, change your reality, change your environment, change your reality. Don't be stuck in old ways because something new is coming. Definitely a reset is happening. You said she's the reason why you're here, your grandma's prayer. Yeah, I'm glad. His grandma was 90-something years old when he did that video. Jim says, proud of all my people. Our ancestors would be proud of us too. My FBAs can't wait to see the growth. Uplift one another and don't hold each other down. Can't wait to see our men set free. Yeah, that would be a good thing. Angela says, if Trump is giving me as property to my husband, he's too late because I already gave myself to him and he to me in the eyes of God. So are they changing women's rights to vote if they're married? Are they not allowing women that are married to vote anymore, Angela? Because that's what he is implying. They encourage the children to war, therefore it shall be. Okay. They'll be even more proud of us if we get rid of this African American slang on this Black slang. You're right. I'm all for this Apple Bell, Conto says. All right. Thank you for your insight, time, and efforts. Thank you, Angela. You said most of the money goes to the military. Where are the cuts there? They're defending Black-owned businesses. Okay. They would love to see us all locked up for life, Charles says. Trump is the king. $5,000 won't help those who have been fired on the spot. It will help some of us, though. Which Department of Treasury voted for Doge? Nobody. I don't know what nonsense Gabriel's on. Yeah, he's tripping. I don't have a lot of moderators in the chat today. Just one right now. I don't know where everybody's at. But in closing, y'all, basically, we need to focus on our own issues as Black people. For far too long, we have been used as mules for other people's plight and situations. And we are now finally waking up to the reality that we don't need to be used and abused like that. And a lot of people on social media really are taken aback by our positioning to just remain quiet and be on the sidelines and mind our own business. So the Palestinians have to fight their own situation. The other people that are trying to get us to come out and do something have to do the same. These mass deportation things that are happening, they got to mind their own business and not pretty much worry about us, you know, because we have our own stuff to consider. And I hope that people would just respect that we are not wanting to get involved and just leave us alone. But as you know, there's this thing called gaslighting. And so many people feel like it's up to them to try to get us to do their job. Everywhere you go, everybody has that same sentiment. How can we get Black Americans to do something that we don't dare want to do? How can we get them involved to use their energy and springboard into progress, leaving them behind? And we are finally waking up to the realization that we have been used and spat out over and over and over again by different groups of people that never loved us, and they never will. There's just so much anti-Black hate in America, and a lot of these people that have come from other places around the globe with that same sentiment, and most of them are illegal. Most of them are illegally here. And I don't have a problem with seeing them being deported. I just don't. So with that being said, let me just say this. On the border, federal agents now outnumber the illegal crossers. Finally, I'm going to end it with this video. So no, we're not going to come out in droves to protest. We're not going to be used for illegals for their plight, and we're not going to be used for Palestinians for their plight. It's sad what's going on in Palestine. It's sad that a lot of people have lost their life. I mean, it is a sad situation, but there's nothing that we can do to change it. And so it is what it is. Unfortunately, a lot of people feel like, you know, they need the Black vote because we used to be known to be protesting and marching everywhere. But this is a new day. You know, we are holding our own weight, and we're requiring other people to hold their own as well. So with that being said, let's look at this last video.
The Post recently got the opportunity to ride along with Border Patrol agents in the El Paso, Texas sector, which spans both West Texas and New Mexico. In the span of just 4 quiet hours on the border, one migrant was apprehended and fought back tears as he was met by 6 burly federal agents who were likely to kick him back to Mexico within the same day. Mexican migrant Giovanni, who's 23, was the migrant trying to run from Border Patrol agents after he scaled the border wall. It was his second attempt crossing the border, which just cost him $7,000 in smuggling fees to the coyotes or cartel operatives who helped him make entry.
Some of these illegal aliens, they spend all their money, all their savings, all their resources to make this illegal entry into the United States.
With more manpower and time, the military and Border Patrol has now teamed up to capture the previously cartel-conquered Mount Cristo Rey in Sunland Park.
This is the El Paso sector of the border. We're currently in Sunland Park, New Mexico, on Mount Cristo Rey. This is where the smugglers trying to move people who are trying to away from Border Patrol by going through these peaks and valleys of this mountainous area. Right here you can see there's actually a sensor. This is an artificial intelligence sensor that is used by Border Patrol to detect any of those runners so that they can alert agents.
Nearly a year before, and just 15 miles down the road from the mountainous crossing point,
look at that.
Migrants bum rush the border and
look at how ridiculous that is, y'all. And I'm supposed to support that bullshit?
troops on their way.
This is exactly what happened. That was under the previous administration, under the Biden administration, when we saw massive surges of illegal migrants coming across the border. Those were record numbers. I remember being down here nearly a year ago and seeing this scene of chaos, violence, destruction.
Wow.
Of people desperate to get into the U.S.
That was a year ago, y'all. That was a year ago. And now it looks way different since Trump's been in office. He's cleaned all this up. And I salute Trump for doing his job that he needed to do.
Caught and then released. That's all over under this administration. The Trump administration has ended catch and release. And we're not seeing this kind of activity here at these areas that used to see hundreds of migrants amassing. Now, it's quiet.
With Trump back in office, Border Patrol agents...
Now it's quiet. Now it's clear. Now it's secured the way it needed to be. This is what I voted for: a secure border, less illegals, and confidence in our president for the first time. I did not have confidence at all in Biden. At all. I was scared every day behind him being so silly and reckless and just clueless on how to be a president. And I felt like our reputation was going down the drain with Biden. But now that Trump's in the office, he's a mixed bag, I must admit. A lot of people have really high emotions about Trump. You really like him a lot, or you really despise him a lot. There's really no middle ground with Trump. But whatever you may say, he is protecting our border. He is going after the people that are corrupt. We have to give him an opportunity to clean up the swamp. And hopefully things will look a lot better in 3 to 4 months.
Also back in full force on the front lines of the border in large numbers. It's a complete 180 from the border under the Biden administration, when agents were stuck in holding centers processing migrants, some of whom were criminals, gangbangers, and terrorists, who they were most of the time letting go into the U.S. Border Patrol sources have likened their jobs under the previous administration to babysitting. While they were knowingly opening up the border to gotaways they couldn't find the time to catch. Now they're jubilant since the border has been sealed off by the Trump administration, which has positioned thousands of additional troops and brought federal agents back to the front lines.
I mean, it's a relief for our agents. You know, they don't feel overwhelmed as when we were getting 2,500 apprehensions average a day. Now that we're getting less than 100, it actually gives our agents a breather. It gives our agents room to take a step back and evaluate the operational needs so we can continue with the mission of securing our nation's borders.
Exactly. What is there to protest? There is no reason for us to protest. We want a secure border if you are an American first, regardless of color. And I know that a lot of people don't like me speaking about being Black American, but this is first and foremost a Black American platform. It is open for people that don't really like watching news, that they want to get a quick review of what's going on, a capture of a picture of what's happening. And a lot of Black people like to, look at different YouTube channels sometimes versus go seek out the news, and they can come to this platform and get it. So some of the controversial topics that I may have, it does talk about being Black here in America, because I have to talk in the vantage point of being who I am. And I happen to be Black living in America, and things that affect us, I have to talk about, because it is what it is, being scapegoated all the time and gaslit by a variety of different types of groups of people. And, we feel like we're being bullied. This is a platform to vent, to rant, to expose, to showcase different things that other people are not aware of. And maybe if other groups of people are in the know of what's happening, they will have understanding of why we move and do what we do. For those that don't care to get that, that's on you. You know, you're free to feel the way you need to feel. But all I know is you are not the ones being gaslit. You're not the ones that's being demanded to participate and protest. People are not wagging their fingers at you about why you're not out here doing this and that and the other. They do that to Black folks because they think that they can pimp and incite us to do whatever they desire. But those days are long gone. This is 2025. We have risen up and we are saying we're not taking this mess no more. And this is why I had to do this video in addition to showing the news and also talk about the firing of the chief, because I believe Karen Bass was covering up her movements and how she moved, which was contrary to being a good mayor. So, you know, those things have to be talked about on these types of videos. But anyways, I appreciate everybody that did hit the like button. I really didn't get a lot of support, though, ultimately. I would hope that most people would, before you leave, support by hitting that like button and share and subscribe to the channel. And Israel says it's not about race. Well, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. How you doing, Laura Makes a Way? Thank you for coming through. Republicans have tried to help Black people for years, but they just wouldn't listen until Trump. You're right about that, Codis. I think Trump is the wild card, and you can't help but listen to him. You know, he does speak from his hip. You know, he just speaks and says what comes to mind. Sometimes it's not well received by others, but I see it as someone that's trying to be transparent. And so I don't get emotional about what he says and how he says stuff. But I think that Trump is the better president this time around than he was last time because he knows what he did wrong the first time and he could see better because of his experience as the president 45. And hopefully 47, he's going to prove to be a lot better than he was the first time around. We just have to give him the opportunity to clean up what's wrong with our country. And all the other people that are trying to be here and they're undocumented, they're illegally here for years. I can't have as much sympathy for you because, again, I am American first, and that is what it is. So this is why most of us are sitting out on the sidelines, because we are pretty much knowing that this is our home and we want to see it secured and we don't want the riffraff of what's been going on. And so people have to get over themselves and start, you know, maybe worrying about what they can do out there, protesting or whatever the heck it is that they need to do. But stop demanding of us to get involved because we're not coming. That is basically what I have to say for now. Please hit the like button. Please share, subscribe. Thank y'all for coming through. And I really appreciate seeing y'all. Let me see what you said before I go. You said they build the poor to benefit the rich. Prove all things, I beg you. Yeah, the poor, you know, is being squeezed out right now. They have been squeezed out since Biden. Biden was the beginning of the end for the poor and the middle class. You know, that's the truth. Trump is coming in to clean up what Biden did wrong. And he's like breaking everything down to rebuild it back up. That's what Trump is doing. I know it's painful. A lot of people that got fired don't really see what he's trying to do because all they see is the loss of their job. But on the outside looking in, you have to admit that him finding different fraudsters and different monies that been spent very reckless and just incompetent, calling that stuff out is going to ultimately benefit us in the end. Maybe it's not going to be pretty before it gets better, but hopefully in the long term, it will get a lot better and be more organized and more efficient. This is what I hope for and pray for. We will see. We shall see. So with that being said, thank y'all for coming through. Please like and share the video. And bless up. Have a great Saturday. I will be back tomorrow to talk Pan-African talk and other news about Trump. Whatever he's talking on, I will be talking about what he's talking on. If there's a speech that he gives, I will be there to showcase that speech. If he answers questions to reporters, the latest, I will be giving the latest on what Trump is doing tomorrow. Then after I give the latest on Trump, we're going to talk about Pan-Africans and this notion of Black Americans, of course, being scapegoated and gaslit to go to Africa. A lot of Africans and Pan-Africans and Americans feel as if we need to escape America and go to Africa. But I have a question for y'all. Does it make sense for us to go to Africa when everybody else wants to be where we are? All these immigrants and illegals are showcasing what their desires are to be. Why would we want to leave what we helped build to give away what we have accomplished? It doesn't make sense. So I want to have that discussion tomorrow. And there's a lot of evidence out there to showcase different groups of people that are vying to be here where we are. And I feel like we as Americans should wake up and take the blinders off to see that they're trying to make us fool ourselves out of our position. As Americans, we earned the right to be here as Americans, unlike other people that just came over. We earned it through blood, sweat, and tears. Other people just came. They just flew in, or they just went over the border illegally to come over. We have every opportunity provided to us by our ancestors. And people are vying for our position because they know where they came from is a lot worse than where they are trying to be, which is America. And sometimes I feel like Pan-Africans are trying to trip us out of our position to make us be the fall guy in Africa. There is no benefit for us over there in Africa as a group. There just isn't. And I will prove that tomorrow. So that will be the topic tomorrow for those that want to come listen, or you can go to another platform and listen to that. But again, I will be giving updated news about Trump, in addition to talking about this go back to Africa, all this pressure and gaslight for us to go. We're sick of it. We're sick of these Pan-Africans. We're sick of some Africans that cannot let go of us trying to be who we want to be here in America. And they keep trying to say we hate ourselves and we don't want to go to Africa. Well, tell that to the Africans that don't want to go back to their homeland. Tell that to the Jamaicans, to the Haitians, to other Caribbeans that refuse to go home, even when they are illegally here. Tell that to them. Stop skipping all those people to come talk to us about what we ought to do. Again, everybody around this globe has been taking shots at Black Americans. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So with that being said, thank you for coming through. Please like and share the video, and bless up.